As his screen began filling with data, he took
Keep
mental
left
stock of what
onto
was going on today.
I-99 South.
The operational tempo, or op-tempo, here at the campus had been going up precipitously in the past few weeks, so Jack found it harder and harder each morning to decide on a starting place for his day's duties. The 4 campus operatives out in the field were divided into 2 teams. Jack Jr.'s cousin, Dominic Caruso, was teamed with ex-Army Ranger Sam Driscoll.
Continue on
They were
I-99.
tailing a Muslim Brotherhood outfit who Jack and his fellow analysts at the campus had reason to suspect was doing his best to raise some hell. According to the CIA, the man had been setting up training camps in western Egypt and was purchasing weapons and ammunition from a source in the Egyptian army. After that, well, that was the problem. No one had been able to figure out what he was doing with the camps and the guns and the know-how he'd obtained working for the URC and other groups for the past 2 decades. All they knew was that he and his camps and his guns were in Egypt. Jack sighed. Egypt. Post-Mubarak. Pre-fucked up Free Fire Zone? The American media declared as fact that the changes in the Middle East would promote peace and tranquility. But Ryan, the campus, and a lot of people in the know around the world thought it likely that the changes in the Middle East would usher in not moderation, but rather extremism. To many in the American media, people who thought such things were pessimists at best and bigots at worst. Ryan considered himself a realist, and for this reason he didn't run out into the street to praise the rapid change. The extremists were out in force. With the disappearance of the Emir nearly a year earlier, all over the map the terrorists were shifting safe houses, allegiances, occupations, and even host nations. One thing hadn't changed though. Ground zero for the entire jihadist movement was still Pakistan. 30 years ago, all the fledgling jihadists of the world flocked there to fight the Russians. Every male kid in the Islamic world past the age of puberty was offered a gun and an express ticket to paradise. Every boy younger than that was offered a place in a madrasa, a religious school which fed them and clothed them and gave them a community. But the madrasas set up in Pakistan taught only extremist beliefs and war-fighting skills. These skills were handy for the students, as these children were just being made ready to send into Afghanistan to fight the Russians. But the skill sets they'd learned, along with the madrasa's promotion of jihad, didn't leave them many options when the Russians left. It was inevitable that when the Soviets quit Afghanistan, the hundreds of thousands of armed and angry jihadists in Pakistan would become an incredible thorn in the side of the government there. And it was equally inevitable that these armed and angry jihadists would push into the vacuum that was post-Soviet Afghanistan. And thus began the story of the Taliban, which created the safe haven for Al-Qaeda, which brought Western coalition forces over a decade earlier. Ryan sipped his coffee, tried to focus his thoughts back on his duties and away from the big geopolitical issues that got him going. When his dad made it back into the White House, then his dad would have all that to worry about. Junior, on the other hand, had to deal with the comparatively tiny day-to-day ramifications of all those big problems. Small stuff, like IDing some mutt for Sam and Don. They had emailed him another batch of pictures for him to look at. Pictures including some of the unknown Pakistani who had met with Eldar Bussi the day before. Ryan forwarded that email to Tony